Welcome to the AI Story Narrator.
In the remote mountains of a forgotten valley, the air was thick with secrets, and nothing was as it seemed. Emma, a self-professed city girl, found herself reluctantly nestled in the heart of the forest, a place where the silence was deafening, and the wilderness was a constant reminder of her discomfort. She had never known such stillness until that day in the recording studio, where her heartbeat echoed terrifyingly loud in the soundproof booth. She glanced out of the window, gazing at the pine-covered hills surrounding her new home. The move had been her husband Alex's idea, a way to escape the relentless demands of city life, a fresh start. But she couldn't shake the feeling that they were out of their depth, out of place, and out of time. What do you think? Alex inhaled the crisp mountain air dramatically. Paradise, right? I don't know, Emma replied, trying to suppress her unease. I'm sure I'll get used to it. They unpacked their boxes, each item from their city life looking out of place in the rustic mountain house. As she placed a mid-century modern table in the midst of the woods, she wondered what madness had led them to this place. One ominous day, a strange scent wafted through the air, a hint of sulfur mingling with the pine. A column of black smoke snaked into the sky from a nearby hill, clawing at the horizon. Emma's heart sank, and her worst fears came to life. The night before, she had dreamt of a forest fire, a relentless inferno closing in on them. Alex, she said, her voice trembling, over there. He joined her on the porch, a coffee cup in hand, and nonchalantly brushed off her concern. Probably just someone doing a controlled burn, honey. The realtor mentioned it. We don't want to be those city folks, jumping at every little thing. She bit her lip, torn between the fear in her gut and the fear of being seen as the inexperienced outsiders. Hours passed, and the troubling thought of the fire continued to simmer in Emma's mind. She remembered the advice she had received after calling the police about an animal noise that had terrified her. By a big gun, they had said, and she realized they were woefully unprepared for life in the wilderness. The move had been Alex's idea, and he was determined that it was their fresh start. Her mental health had been deteriorating in the city, but now, in this isolated mountain retreat, she felt even more lost. Mark, however, had found work at a small accounting firm in the nearby town. Their expenses were lower, and she didn't need to work, but her restlessness led her to browse job listings, just to escape the haunting silence. As the day ticked by and her anxiety mounted, she heard an unusual sound, a soft, irregular clacking. It led her to the side door, where she found a small black kitten with white paws, like a waif in the woods. Its big yellow eyes stared up at her, and a meow of melancholy filled the air. Startled by the sudden appearance, Emma cut her finger with a knife, causing the kitten to bolt away. But she couldn't let the fragile creature roam the woods, not with the looming danger of bears. With Tom Petty's song still playing in her mind, she filled a bowl with milk and placed it on the porch. For a moment, she contemplated adding a drop or two of her blood, a bizarre impulse she quickly dismissed. Surely, the kitten wouldn't want that. Inside, she sang, loudly at first, then softly, the silence beginning to consume her. She turned on the TV, using an old antenna to catch the local news. The announcement caught her off guard. Our hearts go out to Beth Green, whose home was found burning this morning. The blood drained from her face as she recognized the source of the smoke. She should have called for help. She should have done something. Mark had called Beth Green a crazy cat lady, and now Emma knew where the kitten had come from. She had believed Mark when he assured her that everything would be fine. But that assurance now seemed hollow. Driven by guilt, she rushed into town, her heart pounding with the knowledge that she could have done something to prevent the tragedy. She loaded up on cat treats and returned home, spreading them across the porch as an offering to the kitten. But the kitten remained elusive, and the silence of the forest echoed through her soul. She retreated inside and began to prepare dinner, waiting for Mark to return from work. The tranquil evening took a sinister turn as she heard a scraping sound, followed by a crash that made her heart race. Her mind conjured images of bears and danger, and she dashed to the glass door leading to the porch. But there was nothing there. Only deep gashes on the wooden floor, a bowl shattered into pieces, and the treats devoured as if an insatiable beast had feasted on them. Mark came home to chaos and listened to Emma's account of the day, his concern growing as she spoke. They decided to check the security cameras that Mark's uncle had installed in the house. As they watched the footage, their disbelief grew into terror. What they saw was not a bear or a bobcat. It was a monstrous creature, covered in spines, the size of 2 bears combined. Its eyes held an eerie, unnatural intelligence. "Fucking hell, what is that thing?" Mark's voice quivered. Emma couldn't take her eyes off the screen, replaying the horrifying moment when the creature had visited their porch. Its lightning speed and malevolent presence left her breathless. Mark tried to reassure her, suggesting it might be a glitch in the camera, but deep down, they both knew that what they had witnessed was real. Later that night, as Mark slept soundly, Emma couldn't escape the feeling that they were in grave danger. Her instincts were screaming at her, urging her to protect herself. She couldn't ignore the impulse. In the darkness, she stood before the refrigerator, filled a fresh bowl of milk, and placed it outside. The silence of the forest seemed to intensify as she waited. There were no guarantees, only a relentless sense of dread that told her she needed to understand what lurked in the shadows of the mountain.
If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.